What is up, YouTube? Bro Raicho Gaming, and we are back today with another video. Today we're going to be doing a Smite build guide video, and the hero we're going to be looking at today is none other than everyone's favorite squirrel, Ratatoskr. Before we get started on today's build video, I want to give a special shout out to Flash Gaming Group. They've given me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Using code BRORICHO20, you can get 20% off everything in the store. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So Flash Gaming makes gaming sleeves, compression sleeves. I know you've heard about compression technology. It's supposed to increase your blood flow, regulate the temperature of your arm, as well as it helps out with my carpal tunnel. I suffer from pretty bad carpal tunnel, and honestly, I think the compression really helps me out. The sleeve I'm wearing right now is the standard gaming sleeve. I have the blue one right here. It's 20 bucks, but you can get 20% off if you use code BRORIDESHOW. They also have gaming gloves as well as a big water bottle. I know y'all want to drink a lot. And then they have the X adapter for your mobile gamers. You want to plug a controller into your phone, you can do that with this product. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, so the way we're going to do today's video is we're going to start off with Ratataskr's abilities. We're going to go on to hit the items that I think I like to use, and then we're going to finish off with the skill order that I usually go with. Alright, so the first thing we're going to start off is the abilities. Like I said, he has the Acorn. Now, the Acorn is an item that's specific to him. He starts with it, and it's meant to replace boots. It has 4 different upgrades we'll go over later. And I'll tell you the one I like to use in the build, and the other ones that might work as well with this build. Now, the second item is the Dart. It's just a standard dash ability. It does damage, it goes through minions, and it's great for escaping as well as just clearing ad waves. The typical combo I like to use is I just go all the way to the archers. I use my Flurry, which is this spinning ability right here. It's basically just a spin that debuffs enemies. So I like to go ahead of the ad wave, get to the archer, spin, and then I dash through, and then maybe about level 5, level 6, that will actually just wipe out all minions in one go. It's a very good use of it, too, because you're also backing up and escaping with the dash as well as doing damage. And that's just how I like to use that ability. And then third, you have the Acorn Blast. The Acorn Blast is Ratataskr's bread and butter. One thing about Ratatoskr is you need to hit your acorns. So the acorns really don't do that much damage all alone, but the big thing is they stun. If you hit all 3, you have to hit all 3, then they will stun. And if you do not hit your stun, Ratataskr's kit really relies heavily on the stun. I cannot emphasize it enough. If you do not hit your stun, you should back up and then wait for your stun to get back up on cooldown, because Ratatoskr is very frail, even as a solo build, which I'm going to show you my solo build. He's still pretty frail. Like, in-game, you can get some pretty good items, but you have to remember, he's an assassin, not a warrior. You really want to rely on your Acorn to stun for yourself and for your team, and then just blow through all your cooldowns. And that's how you play Ratatoskr. And finally, his ult through the cosmos. It's a pretty unique ult. So basically, he jumps up into the sky, and then he can jump. You have these branches that show up, and then he can jump from branch to branch, and then he jumps down, and when he hits the ground, it knocks up enemies. So what I like to do usually is I'll ult into a fight, and then as soon as I hit the ground, I'm going for the acorns, because I'm trying to stun them to get them even more CC'd, and then you can waste the rest of your cooldowns. And usually you can just melt people with this combo. I'll put some videos at the end of me doing this exact combo, but it's probably the best combo for finishing people off. You can use it to dive tower as well, especially when you prepare it with some items that I'll show you later, such as Pridwin. Through the Cosmos is a great support ult, as well as it does a shit ton of damage. Alright, now let's all get to the point where you are all waiting for. Let's be honest. You guys want to know what items. You don't want to hear me talk. You want to know the items. So as I said before, Ratatoskr, he starts with the magic acorn. As you can see on the screen, it gives him 8% movement speed. It's there to replace boots. Now, in the current build that I like to use, I like thick bark, and I like thick bark for one reason. The protections, the extra power, gives you a little more oomph in lane, you know? Helps you clear those minions quick, and it gives you an additional charge of flurry. And on top of that, flurry now gives you protections equal to the ones you took away from your enemies, and it restores some health, so you get some lifesteal. Like I said, as you can see right here, when Ratatoskr deals damage with an ability, he restores 3% of his max health. Flurry now provides protections equal to the protection shred from enemy gods, and Flurry gains an additional charge. So all those together really set this build off. Sometimes I'll go evergreen, but for the most part, I'm going with the thick bark for all the buffs it gives you to your kit, and the lifesteal is really nice. Alright, so the next item you want to go for is the Warrior's Axe. It gives you the physical protection, the magical protection, as well as health, and then the passive. Damaging an enemy god steals 25 health away from your target and restores it to you. This effect can only occur once every 10 seconds, can be upgraded at level 20. So, Ratatoskr is an assassin, so obviously he's going to need protections right off the bat, because he doesn't have the natural bulk of characters like Chalk, Bellona, Erlang Shin. He's an assassin. So you really want to focus those protections and extra health early game, because otherwise you're just going to get smashed in lane right away. And you know what happens when you get smashed early? You feed. And no one wants to feed. And then usually I cap the build off with just 4 multi-potions. You know, you have 200 gold, can't really afford anything else, so just go ahead and buy those multi-potions, let you stay in lane longer, and these 3 items are what you'll start with. Alright, so after you've upgraded your thick bark acorn, that's always the first item you want to go for. I usually try to rush Gladshield, and that's for a couple reasons. You know, like I said, you're an assassin. You want that natural protection that you get from it. You're usually going up against a warrior, which is a physical attacker, so you get power, physical protection, health, and cooldown reduction, and then you get some nice extra damage from the amount of protections you have. As you can see below, when you damage a god below 60% health, with an ability you deal an additional 15 to 25%, 15 plus 25% of your protections from items and abilities. This can only trigger once per ability, but it gives you a little extra damage because you're already getting those natural protections from Flurry and stealing protections from the enemy with Flurry. And on the offhand that you're going up against maybe a Hades solo, I've been seeing a lot of Hades solo now, especially during Season 8. He's definitely seen his pick rate in solo lane go up quite a bit. I go ahead for the Talisman of Energy. It gives you the extra health, as well as the magical protection, so that way you're not getting farmed by a magical solo build. And then has a passive where you get a killer assist on enemies, gives you and allies within 70 units stacks of energy, which gives you 2% movement speed, 2% attack speed, and 10 MP5. And that lasts 10 seconds, which is a pretty long time, and it stacks up to 6 times, so that's a lot. You gotta think, at max stacks, you're getting 12% movement speed, 12% attack speed, and 60 MP5, which is an insane number. So, if normally I want you to go for the Gladiator Shield, but if you're going up against like a solo mage or something like that, you definitely want to go for the Talisman of Energy and get that extra magical protection. So the next item I want to go for is the Shifter's Shield. It gives you more physical protection and more physical power. So damage and tankiness, it's always good on a solo. And the passive, while over 75% health, you gain 35 physical power. And while under 75% health, you gain extra protections. And like we talked about earlier, Gladiator's Shield gives you extra damage based off the protections you have. So these 2 items just pair really well together. Definitely recommend getting this. It is these, as you see, these all 3, really you want all 3 of these. I know we talked about Talisman of Energy, but this is the core build. This is everything, these have to be in my build. I'm telling you, these items work great together. This is the build you want for solo Ratatoskr. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the last item. So the good thing about this build is the last item, you have a lot of freedom with the last item. So usually, if I'm having a good game, everything's going well, I'm not having any trouble, I just go ahead and go with Pridwin. It gives you magical and physical protection and cooldown reduction, and it has an ability where you gain a shield when you use your ult. So I know, as we talked about earlier, Ratataskr's ult, you jump across the map, and then you jump down and knock people up. So say you want to dive someone under tower, that Pridwin shield can give you that extra health that you need to survive that tower dive and finish somebody off. And also, let's say you don't finish the kill off, but you want to get out. And then you're afraid of someone chasing you. Maybe a support's coming from left jungle, you jumped to mid. That shield, when it times out after 5 seconds, or it's destroyed, it explodes and does damage equal to 50% of the shield's initial health, and slows the target for 3 seconds. So this ability works really great. The shield helps you tower dive, and when it explodes, if you're running away, you're running away from a support or a jungler coming to gank you, the explosion from the shield, when it runs out, can slow enemies, prevent them from chasing you, and do damage to them at the same time. 2 birds, 1 stone. Pridwin is usually the default I go to. But let's say they have a lot of physical attackers and they have a really tanky build. I usually try to swap out Pridwin for Void Shield. It gives you a little extra damage. You're dealing with a tanky comp already, so you want that extra damage. It makes you tankier, and then it gives you extra health. And then the aura has an aura where enemy gods within 55 units have their physical protections reduced by 15%. So that's really good for tankier builds. Maybe they're running like dual guardians or something like that. Like a Kabrakan jungle plus maybe Geb or Cthulhu. If you're running up against a lot of defensive characters like our healer comp, I usually like to go Void Shield. You don't want to swap in Pestilence because usually your support's going to pick that. Finally, let's say you're going up against attack speed Achilles or attack speed anything really, and you don't really need that shield. Say you're doing pretty well, but you're getting demolished by an attack speed carry or something like that. You can always run Witchblade. It gives you health, physical protection, cooldown reduction, extra movement speed, which is always good. And then the Aura, which reduces enemies' attack speed by 25%, which is a lot. Especially, you will realize really soon that if you get this, and say a carry is just shutting you down 24/7, they may no longer shut you down. 25% is a quarter of it. So, it's a really powerful item. Like I said, I usually just go for the Pridwin though. But in certain picks and, certain comps, Witchblade and the Void Shield are great options. And finally, I'll tell you, the starter relic I usually like to go for is Blink. I'm not really a big fan of Teleport Solo Rat because he's already fast. He has a dash plus ult if you really need to get back to lane really fast. I usually just go for Blink. It's good for chasing. It's good for escape. Blink is top tier. We all know that. And then, later in the game, I like to get the Purification Beads. CC is really annoying. And let's be honest, no one likes to be CC'd, so Purification Beads cannot go wrong with it. For the consumables, I like Chalice of Healing. Most solos, you pick Chalice of Healing. And then finally, at level 20, I usually like to get the Sundering Axe, the extra health protection, magical and physical, and it just buffs the lifesteal that you get. Now, instead of only occurring every 10 seconds, it can happen every 7 seconds. And instead of being 25 health, it's a straight up 10% of their current health, which is great, especially if you're, trying to focus down a Guardian or something like that. Sometimes Guardians have 3,000 health. So if you're stealing 10% every 7 seconds, every 7 seconds, you're stealing 300 health away from that Guardian. So this is about what the full build's going to look like. Okay, now that I've shown you the full build, what I'm going to do is show you the skill order that I buy the abilities. As you can see, you start with the flurry, then you get dart, then you get nuts. You gotta have your first three. Then you want to focus flurry. Flurry is your main focus, so that's why I got flurry through the cosmos, and then I got flurry 2 more times. As basically, you guys are just gonna copy this. I know this already, so just take a look at the screen. But basically, you want to focus the flurry because with the thick bark acorn, you're gonna get 2 uses of that cooldown, so you want that max upgraded as fast. You want to save dart for last because it doesn't really do that much damage. You're not using it for damage. So you focus flurry, then acorn blast, then dart, and then you finish off through the cosmos whenever you can. Now that I've shown you what the final build is going to look like, I actually realize I've been talking for about 15 minutes now. I don't want this video to drag on too long, so I want you guys to tell me in the comments below, would you like to see some gameplay of me playing Ratatoskr and how I like to play, my cooldown management, stuff like that? Or if you'd like more style videos like this, if you want me to do other build guides for gods and stuff like that, make sure you leave that information in the comments below. Make sure you check out my Discord, Twitter, Instagram. All of that will be in the description of the video, and I want you guys to have a wonderful day. I'm Bro Raicho, and I'm out.